body, and his body was with the sun. They were one inside each other. They were together. You could see the separation of them, but they were one inside the other. They were together. And right beside them, there was two angels. It was the angel Gabriel and the angel Michael. The reason why I knew that was their name was because their names were written on their forehead in gold. When I was in front of the Father, I felt myself dirty. I fell to my knees and I cried. And I was very ashamed of myself. Even if I could see their face, I didn't want to because I was ashamed of myself. As I was there in front of the Lord, He showed me a movie of my life from the beginning until now. But He told me the most important part was the things that I did after I was saved. That I told my friends I was a Christian, but in fact I didn't show my fruits. And He told me I was destined to go to hell. The angel Gabriel came and grabbed me by my arm and was taking me to that door I did not even want to look at. And he took me there. And I tried to stop myself, but I was in spirit, and I went through the door. When I was on the other side of the door, it was dark all around. I couldn't even see myself. Then we started to fall really fast, like a roller coaster. Each time we were falling and falling, it was getting hotter and hotter and hotter. I closed my eyes. I didn't want to see what I was about to see. When we stopped, I opened my eyes and I was standing on a red road. I didn't know where it led to, but the first thing that I felt there was thirst. I was really thirsty. I kept on telling the angel, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty. But it's like he didn't hear me. And I tried to cry. And when the tears ran down my cheeks, they completely evaporated. And then there was a smell of sulfur, so ugly, like burning tire. I didn't know. I tried to cover my nose, but in fact, that made it even worse. Like my 5 senses, they all got very sensitive because when I tried to cover myself, I could smell the sulfur even more. And when I was there, the little hairs off of my arms, they just disappeared. I felt all the heat. It was very hot. And then I started looking around. I saw people being tormented by demons. There were some that caught my attention. There was a lady there suffering. A demon was torturing her. This demon would cut her head off, and with his long spear would stab her everywhere. He didn't care, in her eyes, in her body, in her feet, in her hands. He didn't care. And then he'd put her head back on her body and would stab her and stab her. And she would cry with cries of agony. And then I saw another. And this demon was torturing a young man about the age of 21, 22, or 23. And he had a chain around his neck. He was standing in front of a pit of fire. And this demon would stab him everywhere with this long spear, in his eyes everywhere, and would grab him by his hair. And then, with the chain, he would throw him inside that pit of fire, and would take him back out, and would stab him and stab him. This would go on continually. And every time he'd go inside that pit, I couldn't hear his screams. But when the demon would take him out, he would scream with agony. It hurt. I tried to cover my ears because the sound was so horrible. But even if I tried to cover my ears, I still could have heard it, because my hearing was more sensitive. I looked at another demon, and this demon was ugly. The other two were ugly too, but this one was the ugliest. He had characteristics of many different animals. With words I can't even explain it. but he would go around and scare people, and the people would be really scared. And then I saw another demon, but this demon was a beautiful demon. He looked like an angel of God, but he wasn't, because the difference between an angel of God and a demon was that the demon did not have his name written on his forehead with gold, but the angel of God did. After that, I looked back at the angel Gabriel, and he was looking up. He didn't want to see, or I thought he didn't want to see, the others being tortured. But when I saw him, I also thought to myself, well, why is he still there? Ain't I supposed to be there waiting for my turn to be tortured? And I was also thirsty, and I cried out loud to the angel, I'm thirsty, I'm thirsty. I think now he heard what I said, because he looked down on me and he said, the Lord is going to give you one more chance. Immediately when he told me that, all my thirst, all my agony, all my hurting, it just went away. I felt peaceful. And then he grabbed me by my hand and we were about to rise. But suddenly, I heard my name being called. Jennifer, help me, help me. I looked down, I wanted to see who it was. But when I did, the flames were blocking the face of who that was. It sounded like a girl's voice. The only thing I could see was her hand stretched out, wanting me to help her. I had such a desire, such a want to help her. And when I did try, I couldn't, because my hand went through hers. I wanted to help her so much, but you see, she didn't have any hope. I couldn't help her. And then I looked around and I saw my friends, people that I knew, people that I would go to a store or market and would see them. They looked familiar, but I didn't know who they were. I didn't know their lives. But when I saw friends from my school there, it hurt me. I thought to myself, maybe the bad testimony that I was giving them of saying that I was a Christian but turning back made them not want to know about God and turn away from Him. And maybe it was me that brought them there. That's what I thought. And then I also saw that in hell there is no time. There is no past, present, or future. Everything is the same. They're destined to go there. Like I said in the beginning, I don't want to make any doctrine of this, but that's what I saw there. These people that I saw there are still alive today. And then the angel took me back into the presence of God. When I was standing before Him, I was on my knees crying, crying. I still didn't want to look upon His face because I was ashamed of myself. But the Lord, with such sweetness in His voice, He told me, I love you, just like He loves you. But He told it directly to me, and He said He forgave me for everything that I'd done. When I offended Him, He forgave me. And that what I saw in hell and in heaven is what I'm describing to you now. What you're listening to is what I saw. And God looked at me and He showed me many things. He showed me the world, the earth, and around the earth I saw something soft like the ozone layer. It was around the world just like the ozone layer. It looked very soft, and I had such a desire to touch it. When I touched it, I realized it was the Holy Spirit, because it baptized me and I spoke in other tongues. You know, and at the same time that was happening, during that time, I looked up and many evil spirits came out of me. You know, when I would get high or do drugs, that would mess with my mind and would open doors and let evil spirits come into me. They would torture me, and the way that I would act is not really me. was evil spirits inside me. And the word